approval is a formal determination by a recognized authority such as Underwriters Laboratories, Factory Mutual, or the Canadian Standards Association that a product or equipment meets specific standards for safety and performance. The purpose of approval is to provide assurance that the product is safe and effective for its intended use. For example, a circuit breaker must be approved for use in electrical panels. Listing is a service provided by a recognized authority to evaluate and verify that a product or equipment meets specific standards. The purpose is to create a catalog or database of approved products that meet specific criteria. For example, a luminaire may be listed for use in wet locations. Labeling is the process of attaching a label to a product or equipment that indicates its approval or listing status. The purpose is to provide quick and easy identification of approved or listed products. For example, a circuit breaker might have a label indicating that it is approved by Underwriters Laboratories. Identification is the act of clearly marking a product or equipment with its manufacturer, model number, and other relevant information. The purpose is to allow for easy identification and traceability. For example, a cable may be identified with its manufacturer's name, type of insulation, and voltage rating. The vagueness in the National Electrical Code descriptions is intended to provide flexibility and allow for the use of a wide range of products that meet the general safety criteria. However, the following guidelines can help clarify the distinctions. Article 100 defines approved and listed as distinct terms. Article 250 requires equipment to be approved or listed for use in electrical systems. Article 406 requires luminaires to be listed for use in specific locations, such as wet locations. Article 680 requires swimming pool equipment to be listed or labeled. In general, approved refers to products that have undergone rigorous testing and evaluation by a recognized authority, while listed products have been evaluated and verified to meet specific standards but may not have undergone the same level of testing. Labeling and identification are means of conveying the approval or listing status of a product. To elaborate further, let's consider the specific roles each of these terms plays in ensuring electrical safety and code compliance. Approval often involves a comprehensive evaluation process. This includes not only testing the product's performance under normal operating conditions, but also subjecting it to various stress tests to determine its ability to withstand abnormal conditions such as overloads, short circuits, and extreme temperatures. The approving authority will also assess the product's design and construction to ensure that it meets established safety standards. This might include examining the materials used, the manufacturing processes employed, and the quality control procedures in place. When a product receives approval, it signifies that it has met all of these requirements and that it is deemed safe for its intended use when installed and operated in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Listing, on the other hand, typically focuses on verifying that a product meets specific performance standards. This may involve testing the product's electrical characteristics, mechanical strength, or other relevant parameters. The listing process often includes periodic inspections of the manufacturing facility to ensure that the product continues to meet the established standards. A listed product is considered to be suitable for a specific application or purpose, as defined by the listing authority. For example, a listed electrical enclosure might be certified for use in hazardous locations or for outdoor applications. Labeling is a crucial aspect of product compliance because it provides a readily visible indication of a product's approval or listing status. The label typically includes the name or logo of the approving or listing authority, as well as other relevant information such as the product's model number, electrical ratings, and any applicable safety warnings. The label serves as a quick reference for installers, inspectors, and users, allowing them to easily verify that the product is suitable for its intended use and that it meets the applicable code requirements. Identification is essential for ensuring that products can be easily traced back to their manufacturer and that their specifications are clearly understood. This is particularly important for electrical components such as wires, cables, and conduits, which may be installed in concealed locations. Proper identification allows electricians to quickly identify the type and size of conductors, which is crucial for determining their ampacity and for ensuring that the electrical system is properly protected. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, relies heavily on these four concepts to ensure electrical safety throughout the built environment. The NEC provides detailed requirements for the installation and use of electrical equipment and systems, and it often references approved, listed, labeled, and identified products. By adhering to these requirements, electricians and contractors can help to minimize the risk of electrical hazards such as fires, shocks, and electrocution. It is important to note that the specific requirements for approval, listing, labeling, and identification may vary depending on the type of product and the jurisdiction in which it is being used. Therefore, it is essential to consult the applicable codes and standards, as well as the manufacturer's instructions, to ensure that all electrical installations are performed in a safe and compliant manner. Consider the example of electrical wiring. The NEC requires that all electrical wiring be listed by a recognized testing laboratory such as underwriters' laboratories. This listing ensures that the wire meets certain safety standards such as flame retardance and insulation resistance. The wire is also labeled with its gauge type and voltage rating. This information allows electricians to select the correct wire for a particular application and to ensure that the wiring is installed safely. Another example is electrical panels. Electrical panels must be approved for use in a particular location. This approval ensures that the panel meets certain safety standards, such as its ability to withstand short circuits and overloads. The panel is also labeled with its voltage rating, amperage rating, and short circuit current rating. This information allows electricians to select the correct panel for a particular application and to ensure that the panel is installed safely. Lighting fixtures are another area where these concepts are important. Lighting fixtures must be listed for use in a particular location, such as a wet location or a hazardous location. This listing ensures that the fixture meets certain safety standards, such as its ability to withstand moisture or explosive atmospheres. The fixture is also labeled with its voltage rating, wattage rating, and other relevant information. This information allows electricians to select the correct fixture for a particular application and to ensure that the fixture is installed safely. Understanding the differences between approved, listed, labeled, and identified is essential for anyone working with electrical equipment. By following the NEC and using products that meet the appropriate safety standards, you can help to ensure the safety of yourself and others. Now let's delve into some specific examples within the NEC to illustrate how these terms are applied. Article 314.16, for instance, deals with the volume of outlet boxes. It requires that boxes be of sufficient size to accommodate the conductors, devices, and fittings installed within them. While the NEC doesn't explicitly state that boxes must be listed in this section, the implication is that any box used must meet the requirements of a recognized testing laboratory and be suitable for its intended purpose, which is often verified through listing. Similarly, Article 408, which covers switchboards and panel boards, mandates that these assemblers be approved for their intended use. This means that they must undergo rigorous testing to ensure that they can safely handle the electrical loads and fault currents to which they may be subjected. The approval process typically involves a detailed review of the design, construction, and performance of the equipment, as well as periodic inspections of the manufacturing facility. Article 430, which addresses motors, motor circuits, and controllers, also relies heavily on the concepts of approval and listing. Motors, for example, must be listed for their intended use, and motor controllers must be approved for use with specific types of motors. These requirements help to ensure that motors and controllers are properly matched and that they operate safely and reliably. In addition to these specific examples, the NEC also includes general requirements for the approval, listing, labeling, and identification of electrical equipment. Article 110.3, for instance, requires that all electrical equipment be installed and used in accordance with its listing and labeling. This means that electricians and contractors must carefully follow the manufacturer's instructions and ensure that the equipment is used only for its intended purpose. Furthermore, Article 110.2 requires that all electrical equipment be approved for installation and use. This means that the equipment must be acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction, which is typically the local electrical inspector. The inspector will review the equipment's listing and labeling, as well as its overall condition and suitability for the intended application, before granting approval. Let's consider the nuances of identified as it applies to different wiring methods. For example, conductors within a cable assembly are often color-coded for easy identification. The NEC specifies which colors are to be used for specific purposes, such as grounding conductors, neutral conductors, and ungrounded conductors. This color coding helps electricians to quickly and accurately identify the function of each conductor, which is essential for proper wiring and safety. Similarly, raceways and cable trays must be identified with markings that indicate their type, size, and material. This information allows electricians to select the appropriate raceway or cable tray for a particular application and to ensure that it is installed in accordance with the NEC requirements. Another important aspect of identification is the marking of electrical equipment with its voltage, current, and power ratings. This information is crucial for ensuring that the equipment is properly sized and protected and that it is not overloaded. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be clearly and legibly marked with its ratings, and it also specifies the minimum size and type of markings that must be used. In addition to these specific examples, the NEC also includes general requirements for the identification of electrical equipment. Article 110.21, for instance, requires that all electrical equipment be marked with its manufacturer's name, trademark, or other descriptive marking by which the organization responsible for the product may be identified. This requirement helps to ensure that electrical equipment can be easily traced back to its manufacturer in case of a problem or defect. Furthermore, Article 110.22 requires that all electrical equipment be marked with its electrical ratings, including voltage, current, and power. This information is essential for ensuring that the equipment is properly sized and protected and that it is not overloaded. To summarize, approval, listing, labeling, and identification are all essential concepts in the electrical industry. They help to ensure that electrical equipment is safe, reliable, and compliant with the applicable codes and standards. By understanding the differences between these concepts and by following the requirements of the NEC, electricians and contractors can help to minimize the risk of electrical hazards and to create a safe and reliable electrical system. It is important to remember that the electrical code is not just a set of rules, but a living document that is constantly evolving to reflect the latest advances in technology and the latest understanding of electrical safety. By staying up to date on the latest code changes and by continuing to learn about the electrical industry, you can help to ensure that you are providing the safest and most reliable electrical service possible. Understanding the specific role of testing laboratories such as Underwriters Laboratories, Intertek, and the Canadian Standards Association is also important. These organizations develop and maintain safety standards for a wide range of electrical products, and they also operate testing laboratories that evaluate products to ensure that they meet these standards. When a product is listed by one of these organizations, it means that it has been tested and found to comply with the applicable safety standards. The listing mark, which is typically a small label or stamp, indicates that the product has been evaluated by a recognized testing laboratory and that it is considered to be safe for its intended use. These testing laboratories also play a role in the approval process. In some cases, the authority having jurisdiction may require that a product be listed by a recognized testing laboratory before it can be approved for installation and use. This requirement helps to ensure that the product has been thoroughly evaluated and that it meets the applicable safety standards. It's crucial to understand that the authority having jurisdiction has the final say in whether or not a product is approved. While the listing mark of a testing laboratory provides assurance that a product meets certain safety standards, the authority having jurisdiction may have additional requirements or concerns that must be addressed before the product can be approved. Therefore, it is always important to consult with the local electrical inspector to ensure that all electrical installations comply with the applicable codes and standards. In the context of the NEC, the term approved often refers to acceptance by the authority having jurisdiction, which could be a local building inspector, electrical inspector, or other qualified individual or organization responsible for enforcing the electrical code. This authority has the power to determine whether or not a particular installation or piece of equipment is acceptable for use, even if it is already listed or labeled by a recognized testing laboratory. The authority having jurisdiction may base its decision on a variety of factors, including the specific application, the local environment, and the installer's qualifications. For example, an inspector may require additional safeguards or precautions for an electrical installation in a hazardous location or in an area that is subject to extreme temperatures or humidity. In some cases, the authority having jurisdiction may even reject a listed or labeled product if it is deemed to be unsuitable for the intended application. This is why it is so important to work closely with the local electrical inspector throughout the design and installation process to ensure that all electrical work complies with the applicable codes and standards and that it is acceptable to the authority having jurisdiction. Let's dive into some more concrete examples to differentiate these terms in practical scenarios. Imagine you are installing a new ceiling fan. The fan itself should be listed by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories. This listing ensures that the fan has been tested and found to meet certain safety standards such as its ability to withstand overheating and its resistance to electrical shock. The fan will also have a label indicating its listing status, as well as other important information such as its voltage and wattage ratings. Before you install the fan, you should check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that it is approved for use in your particular location. The inspector may have specific requirements for the installation, such as the type of wiring that must be used or the height at which the fan must be mounted. The wiring used to connect the fan must also be identified with markings that indicate its type, size, and voltage rating. This information allows you to select the appropriate wiring for the application and to ensure that it is installed safely. As another example, consider the installation of a new electrical panel. The panel itself must be approved for use in your particular location. This approval may require that the panel be listed by a recognized testing laboratory and that it meets certain local requirements. The panel will also have a label indicating its approval status, as well as other important information such as its voltage, amperage, and short-circuit current ratings. The circuit breakers installed in the panel must also be listed by a recognized testing laboratory. This listing ensures that the breakers have been tested and found to meet certain safety standards, such as their ability to interrupt overcurrents and short circuits. The breakers will also have a label indicating their listing status, as well as other important information such as their amperage rating and interrupting capacity. The wiring used to connect the panel must be identified with markings that indicate its type, size, and voltage rating. This information allows you to select the appropriate wiring for the application and to ensure that it is installed safely. These examples illustrate how approval, listing, labeling, and identification all work together to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical installations. By understanding the differences between these concepts and by following the requirements of the NEC, you can help to minimize the risk of electrical hazards and to create a safe and reliable electrical system. When considering renovations or upgrades to existing electrical systems, it's important to ensure that all new components are not only compliant with current codes but also compatible with the existing infrastructure. This often requires a thorough assessment of the existing system to determine its capacity and condition. For example, if you are adding new circuits to an existing electrical panel, you need to ensure that the panel has sufficient capacity to handle the additional load. You also need to ensure that the new circuits are properly protected with circuit breakers or fuses that are listed for use in the panel. Similarly, if you are replacing old wiring with new wiring, you need to ensure that the new wiring is of the same type and size as the old wiring and that it is identified with the appropriate markings. In some cases, it may be necessary to upgrade the entire electrical system to meet the current code requirements and to ensure that it can safely handle the increased electrical load. This may involve replacing the electrical panel, upgrading the wiring, and installing new grounding and bonding systems. When upgrading an electrical system, it's crucial to work with a qualified electrician who is familiar with the NEC and who can ensure that all work is performed safely and in compliance with the applicable codes and standards. The electrician can also help you to select the appropriate equipment and materials for the job and to obtain the necessary permits and inspections. Furthermore, proper documentation of electrical work is crucial for future maintenance, troubleshooting, and potential modifications. Detailed records should include wiring diagrams, equipment specifications, inspection reports, and any other relevant information about the electrical system. This documentation can be invaluable for electricians and technicians who may need to work on the system in the future. It's also important to keep this documentation in a safe and accessible location so that it can be easily retrieved when needed. In addition to documentation, regular maintenance of electrical systems is essential for ensuring their continued safety and reliability. This maintenance should include periodic inspections of wiring, equipment, and grounding systems to identify any potential problems or hazards. Any damaged or worn component should be replaced promptly, and all electrical connections should be tightened and cleaned. Regular maintenance can help to prevent electrical fires, shocks, and other hazards, and it can also extend the life of electrical equipment. Finally, it's important to educate yourself and others about electrical safety. This includes learning about the common electrical hazards, how to prevent them, and what to do in case of an electrical emergency. You should also teach your family members, employees, or others who may come into contact with electrical equipment about electrical safety and how to use electrical devices safely. By educating yourself and others about electrical safety, you can help to create a safer environment for everyone. The National Electrical Code is a complex and comprehensive document, but it is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. By understanding the key concepts of approval, listing, labeling, and identification, and by following the requirements of the NEC, you can help to minimize the risk of electrical hazards and to create a safe and reliable electrical system. Remember, electrical safety is everyone's responsibility, and by working together, we can create a safer environment for ourselves and for future generations.